He killed at least 5 people, possibly 37. He was never caught. For over 50 years, he taunted police with letters, with symbols, with ciphers no one could break. He called himself the Zodiac, and in every message, he left a promise that somewhere inside the code was his name. In December 2020, a team of amateur codebreakers finally cracked one of those ciphers. What they found inside was not what anyone expected. This is the full story of the Zodiac Killer, his ciphers, and the message that took 51 years to decode. Welcome to the Grim Archive. It began on the night of December 20th, 1968. A young couple parked on a remote road in Benicia, California. Their names were David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen. They were 16 and 17 years old. They were shot dead within minutes of stopping the car. No witnesses, no motive, no suspect. 7 months later, it happened again. A couple attacked at a park in Vallejo. This time, the killer called the police himself, from a payphone just minutes after the shooting. His voice was calm, almost bored. He gave them the exact location of the bodies and told them he was also responsible for the December murders. Then he hung up. 3 weeks after that, the letters began. On August 1st, 1969, 3 San Francisco newspapers each received an identical letter. Inside was a cipher, 408 symbols divided into 3 parts. The writer demanded the newspapers print the ciphers on their front pages, or he would go on a killing rampage. He signed the letter with a crosshair symbol, a circle, with a cross through it. He called himself the Zodiac. The 408 cipher was cracked within a week, not by the FBI, not by the NSA, but by a high school teacher named Donald Hardin and his wife Betty. They worked on it at their kitchen table. What it said was chilling. The Zodiac claimed he was collecting slaves for the afterlife, that killing gave him pleasure, that when he died, he would be reborn and his victims would serve him in paradise. But the newspapers had also been sent a second cipher, shorter, stranger, and far more important, because the Zodiac himself claimed this one contained his identity, his actual name. That cipher was 340 characters long. It became known simply as the Z340, and for 51 years it defeated everyone who tried to crack it. The FBI tried. GCHQ tried. Mathematicians, cryptographers, linguists, retired intelligence officers, all of them failed. The Z340 seemed deliberately constructed to resist solution. It used multiple alphabets, deliberate misspellings, and symbols that shifted meaning depending on their position in the text. Some experts began to wonder if it was even a real cipher at all, or just a taunt. A red herring designed to waste investigators' time while the Zodiac watched from somewhere and laughed. While investigators chased ciphers, the Zodiac kept killing. On September 27, 1969, he attacked 2 college students at Lake Berryessa. This time, he wore a costume, a black hood with his own crosshair symbol stitched onto the chest. He tied his victims with pre-cut lengths of rope he had brought with him. He stabbed them both, repeatedly, and calmly. Then he walked to their car and wrote on the door with a felt-tip pen the dates of his previous murders and the words, "by knife." One of the victims survived. She described a man who seemed completely emotionless. Not angry, not excited. Simply methodical. He sent more letters. He included swatches of a victim's shirt as proof. He threatened to shoot out the tires of a school bus and pick off the children as they fled. He wrote to lawyers. He wrote to celebrities. He wrote to the newspapers again and again. Sometimes taunting, sometimes philosophical, always signing with that crosshair. His confirmed victim count was 5, but in his letters he claimed 37. Police never knew what to believe. And then, in 1974, the letters stopped. The Zodiac simply vanished. No arrest, no confession, no body, nothing. Just silence. And an unsolved cipher sitting in an FBI evidence box waiting. On December 5th, 2020, the FBI made an announcement. The Z340 had been solved. Not by a government agency, not by a supercomputer, but by a team of 3 amateur codebreakers. David Oranchak, a software developer from Virginia, Jarl van Eyck, a Belgian programmer, and Sam Blake, an Australian mathematician. They had been working on the cipher for years, collaborating online, running the symbols through thousands of possible configurations. What finally broke it open was a realization that the text didn't read left to right. It read in a complex diagonal pattern, shifting direction partway through. Once they mapped that correctly, the cipher began to give way. The FBI verified their solution. It was real. So, what did it say? The decoded message read, "I hope you're having lots of fun in trying to catch me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise all the sooner because I now have enough slaves to work for me." More taunting. More mythology about the afterlife. More games. And his name? Not in the Z340. The cipher that was supposed to contain his identity contained nothing of the sort. It was a lie. One final piece of misdirection from a man who had spent years making investigators chase shadows. There is still a 4th cipher, the Z13, just 13 characters long, sent in a 1969 letter alongside the Z340. It has never been cracked, and according to the Zodiac himself, that one contains his name. 13 characters, 55 years, still no answer. The Zodiac Killer was never identified, never arrested, never explained. There are over 2,500 named suspects in the case. Investigators have chased leads for over 5 decades, and yet the man behind the crosshair has never been found. He could have died years ago. He could be alive right now. He could be anyone. What we know is this. Somewhere, there's a 13-character cipher with a name inside it, and that name has been sitting in plain sight since 1969, waiting for someone to finally read it. The archive remains open. If you made it this far, you already know this channel is for you. Subscribe to the Grim Archive. New cases, new history, new stories every week. The ones they buried, the ones they sealed, the ones that were never supposed to come to light. We'll see you in the dark.